Hey guys, I'm Anders Linnard from Gothenburg Historical Fencing School, and I thought I'd shoot a video of an interpretation of the counter towards the Kronpal, which involves the Edel Krieg, the Noble War. And I've come to this interpretation since I started working with the reverse grip. And I think that once we start working with these things, these types of grips, we'll understand a lot of new things regarding winding and the texts in general, because they're not very specific on when we should use the reverse grips. And also the reverse grips aren't very, they don't describe how we get there and how we get out of those positions that we end up in. So when we started doing that, we realized there are a lot of benefits from these positions, which include when you're cutting around to this, the rose position where you can work like this. The benefit of doing this instead of this is that I have to turn my body, or it's at least very awkward not to turn my body. But if I have this position, I can just move very quickly. It's easy for me to go here and here to parry, for example. Same thing with this position where I turn the front hand, the right hand, if you're right-handed, to this position. It's basically very strong. So if someone attacks me and I come here, I have a very strong thrusting position. Okay. So when I started working with how to move, how to do these things and end up in positions like this, I realized I could get here and I could thrust from all four positions. I could cut, switch here, Unterhand, or an Oberhand with these grips. And the same, of course, from here. I can thrust, I can cut with the long edge, with the short edge, and so on. So it's, these are very versatile things. Of course, we have to be able to move our hands around the grip, and we have to be able to shift grips, which is hard with the current gloves that we're using. Okay. So regarding the Kronpal, the counter to the Kronpal, it was one of those things that when you read the text, you've read the text hundreds of times, and it makes sense. And all of a sudden you change one little thing, and it makes even more sense, because it was a slightly awkward movement before. Okay, so I'm going to borrow Simon here, who's going to help me out. Right, so the counter to a Kronpal is described as you cut in, you Kronpal your overhand like this. And from here you wind on your right side above your head, like this is what we used to think. And here you work with thrusts from position to position, and thus you will confuse them. Okay. The problem is that this movement from here to here, it's a long movement, which is rather awkward. But there is an easier way to do this, and it's from here to here, which is really easy. So I just use basically the position that is the rose. Okay, and I'm going to get my little note here, just so that we can read how Ringing actually describes this technique. And all of a sudden, there are a few things that makes even more sense. Okay, when you cut in against him from above your right side, and he also cuts crookedly from his right side with crossed arms onto your sword, and thus presses it down towards the ground. Wind towards your right side, go with your arms up over your head, and thrust with your point above against his breast. If he defends himself against this, stand with your hilt in front of your head, and work deftly with a point from one opening to the other. This is called the Noble War. With this you will confuse him so totally that truthfully he will not know where he will find himself. Okay. So if we're looking at this text and we're seeing in front of our face, like this. This is a much more in front position than this is. I can stand like this, but this is really a really awkward position, right? This, however, is quite easy. And this is also very easy to thrust from. It's easy to actually attack with a point the different openings. Whereas this, although not impossible of course, is a lot less precise. So beside the fact that it makes sense to go from here, if he's struck down, to go there, instead of going all the way up there, it's also a better position to be at afterwards, because as he parries this, it's easy for you to turn around and go for the other openings. Alright, so that's my take on the